Negative of matrix. Negative of matrix is a special case of multiplication of a matrix by a scalar when k is equal to -1. Let's consider an example where we can define what a negative matrix is. So, let A is a matrix with elements A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23, A31, A32, A33. Let's consider a constant k, which is a scalar that is equal to -1. So, the next thing that we need to do, we need to find the resultant matrix, which is the product of k and a. So, as you can see, B is equal to Ka. Since k is equal to -1, so if we rewrite the matrix, we can rewrite -1 times A. Let's bring this matrix A over here so that we can multiply. So -1 times this matrix A. As you know, when we multiply a matrix by a scalar, we multiply each and every individual element of the matrix by that scalar. So in this case, the scalar is -1, so we will multiply that -1 to all these elements one after another. So if we do that, then we have -1 times A11 is negative A11, negative times A12 is negative A12, negative times A13 is negative A13, all the way to negative A33. And that is basically equal to negative of matrix A. Let's consider an example of a negative matrix. So, as you can see, A is a matrix with element 3, 10, 12, 15, and k is a constant that is equal to -1. We have to find the resultant matrix S that is equal to k times A. As you can see, S is a resultant matrix which is equal to k times A, and as you know, we have the k is equal to -1. If we rewrite, we can write resultant matrix S is equal to -1 times A. Now let's bring this matrix A from there to here. So we have S is equal to this -1 again over here, and matrix A is over here, and we got this matrix from here. This is the matrix A. So as you know, when we multiply a matrix by a scalar, we multiply each and every element of the matrix by that negative number. So we will multiply negative times 3, which is -1 times 3, -1 times 10, which is -1 times 10, -1 times 12, it's right here, and -1 times 15, which is over here. So -1 times 3 is -3, -1 times 10 is -10, -1 times 12 is -12, and -1 times 15 is -15.